Okay, so we'll get started. So, hello everyone and welcome. So, before we begin, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what this masterclass is and what it actually isn't. So, because what we're doing today is not a writing session, and it's not a motivational session either, and it's not even really about becoming an author. I know that sounds unusual, but stay with me. It's about understanding what your book is actually there to do inside your business before a single word is written. And that distinction changes everything because most people approach a book from the outside in. They think about what they want to say, they think about what they've been through, and they think about what they want to share. All of that feels like valid information. It feels honest, it feels important, and it feels like you're making progress. But this isn't the place that determines whether the book will work. Because a book is not judged by what you put into it, it's judged by what it creates once it leaves you. It's about what it changes, what it activates, and where it leads the reader. And most people never pause long enough to decide that part properly. So the book gets written from being expressed rather than intention. And that's where things begin to drift off course. Because without a defined role, the book defaults to something very safe. And what it does is that it informs, it shares, and it reflects. But it doesn't direct the reader anywhere specific. And it doesn't direct, it doesn't, and sorry, if it doesn't direct, it doesn't convert. And this is the part that can feel very uncomfortable to see clearly when you're writing the book. Because you can spend months, sometimes years, working on something that feels important, only to realize later that it never had a defined job to begin with. I worked with someone recently who had already written most of her book, over 70,000 words, in fact. She had deep insight, she had strong thinking, and a clear showing of her expertise. And when I asked her one simple question, what should the reader do when they finish this book? She paused, not because she didn't know her work, but because she hadn't decided what the outcome was going to be or what her one topic was for the book. And in that moment, everything became really clear to her. And she realized that because that decision hasn't been made yet, the book cannot be successful for her. And this is far more common than people realize. Not because people aren't capable of writing, but because they've never been shown that this is the first decision that matters before you write your book. So I just want to help you understand and be clear as we continue. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sue Kennedy. I work with established experts who already have depth, experience, and a body of work behind them. And I help them turn a book into a deliberate client generation pathway. Not by teaching them how to write better, but by ensuring the book positions them clearly as the person the reader should work with next. Because when a book is positioned properly, it doesn't just educate, it orients, it qualifies, and it invites the reader towards you. And those three things are doing very specific work. The orientation creates recognition, the qualification creates alignment, and the invitation creates movement. And when these are designed intentionally, something shifts. The book stops just sitting there and it starts working for you, even when you're not there. even when you're not explaining, and even when you're not selling. But even one of those but even if one of those things are missing, something subtle happens. The reader finishes your book, they feel something, and they respect your work, but they don't move towards you. They don't take the next step. They don't follow through. And that gap is where most books quietly underperform. Not because they weren't good, but because they weren't designed to lead the reader to work with them. So before we go any further, I want you to answer the following question. In the chat, I'd love you to finish this sentence. My book needs to lead to fill in the blank. So my book needs to lead to fill in the blank. Okay. Anyone got anything they can answer to that? I don't want you to refine it and don't try and make it sound strategic. Just write the first answer that comes to your mind and then pause and look at that answer. Okay. Michelle, my book needs to lead to people wanting access to the information I have and work with me that allows them to live their life within the direction their life purpose is asking of them. I like it.
Well, that's a start.
Yes, it is. I love it. Isabel, thirst for more interest in the unseen side of being. Oh, yeah. I like that, Isabel. And I know what Isabel's book's about, so it's very exciting and very timely. Um, okay. So now that we've got that, I love it. I really love it. Love what you've written. And okay. So because this is where something, this is where something usually shifts for people when they do actually say it out loud. And I've seen this moment happen again and again with people
Yeah.
where rooms are full of intelligent, capable experts. And every answer is different. I mean, some of the common ones are clients, speaking, visibility,
Hmm.
courses, authority, or opportunities. And all of them are valid, every single one. But they are not aligned. And that lack of alignment is not a small detail to miss. It's the reason most books never become what they could have been. Because when the outcome isn't precise, the pathway cannot be precise. And when that pathway is not precise, the reader doesn't move towards you with certainty. They actually pause, they interpret, and then they delay. And unfortunately, delay is where the momentum disappears. So just give me a simple yes in the chat if you can see that. Not whether you've sold it, just whether you can see it.
Can you just say that again, what I might see for me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the delay is where the momentum disappears, right?
Okay. All right. Okay. Yep.
Get it?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Yeah, because awareness is the first shift that you have, okay?
Yep.
Being aware is, you know, well, it is. It's the first step. It's what, changes everything. So, before we continue, at the end of today's session, I will invite you, those of you who recognize yourselves in what we've talked about, to actually join my program called Book to Bank Fast Track. You don't need to decide anything now, of course, and you don't need to prepare anything. Just stay with me and for the rest of this, and then it's, you'll understand whether it's for you or if it's not for you. And because this is not something that you decide from uncertainty. It's something you recognize from having clarity. Now, let's talk about the reason you're here. You're capable of writing a book, that's no doubt, and that's not the question here. You have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have the depth. But capability is not what determines the outcome, the direction does. And this is where most people have never fully gone here, and they've thought about it and they've hinted at it and they've loosely described it, but they haven't actually decided upon it. And without that decision, everything that follows becomes a lot harder. It's more uncertain, it's more fragmented. And so I just want to get this a lot clearer for you. So in the chat, I'd love you to complete this sentence. If the right person reads my book, I want them to fill in the blank immediately after. So if the right person reads my book, I want them to fill in the blank immediately after. It's not eventually, not when they're ready, but immediately. Okay. Okay, Michelle, I want them to look me up either via Google or go to my website, maybe listen to my podcast, or in some way I want to see more of me and then move to subscribing to me so I know they exist and I can nurture them. Yes.
Mm.
Reimagine reality for Isabel.
Mm. So I can't quite get the connection to keep we staying with me. I can't get that right at the minute. I can't put that into words. Yeah.
So you're talking about the reader.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like Michelle says, maybe listen to my podcast. I don't have that link in. I actually haven't thought of it that way. I just sort of the book just existing and the change being with the book and not back to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think what you need to think about, Isabel, and I'd love
yeah,
to.
no, I'm fine because I never thought about it. Yeah,
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. I'd love to have a chat with you so that, like, out of this class, of course, that I want you to think about what the goal of your book is,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that might then help you tie this in.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the goal, yeah, I do know what the goal is, but it doesn't. Yeah. Anyway,
we'll have
I'll
a
talk to
chat.
you later. I'll talk to you later. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah,
Okay. So, if someone reached the final page of your book, would that next step feel obvious to them? Or would they need to figure it out? Would they need to think about it? Or would they need to search for you? Because here's the truth about this, readers don't do that. Not because they're not interested, but because nothing has made the next step feel like the obvious next. Hang on, let me just let this person in. Um, yeah. So sorry.
Oh,
Hey,
hi.
hey, Joe.
Oh,
Okay, so we've already started, Joe, so just bear with us. Um, okay, so it's because nothing has made the next step feel like the obvious move. Okay, so if your answer isn't completely obvious yet, then just type not yet in the chat and just notice how many people are typing that.
mm,
Yeah, okay. I don't expect you to answer this one, Joe, because you've only just joined. So this is not a personal gap, okay? It's a structural one. And once you see it, you start to understand something really important. Most books are not underperforming because they're missing value. They're underperforming because they're missing the direction required for the book. Now, let's go a bit deeper. Most books create insight, they expand thinking, and they offer perspective. They articulate ideas clearly, and all of that feels really meaningful. But insight alone does not create movement. And this is where a quiet misconception sits. That if something is powerful enough, people will act. But they don't, not consistently, because action doesn't come from power alone. It comes from clarity, and clarity requires design. Now, let's go a bit further into something that most people don't say out loud. Your experience is both your strength and your complication because you know a lot, and that makes it harder to choose,
mm,
harder to narrow things down, and harder to leave things out. So, your instinct is to include more,
yeah.
to make sure everything is represented in your book,
Mm,
to make sure nothing important is missed. And that feels like the responsible thing to do, right? But strategically, it creates confusion.
mm,
I work with a client who said to me, but all of this matters. And she was right. It did matter, but it didn't all need to be in the book because the book had a particular job and not everything supported that job. And this is where the shift happens. Not when you add more, but when you decide what earns its place in the book. So I want you to notice where your instinct is to expand. So in the chat, I want you to write one thing you feel you need to include in your book.
oh,
Call to action. Mm, yeah, definitely need a call to action, not just one. More feeling, content showing more than telling. Solutions to problems. Yeah. So now look at your answers and ask yourself honestly, does including that make your positioning clearer or broader? If it makes it broader, type broader into the chat because this is the exact point where clarity either sharpens for you or it softens. Broader. Yep. Isabel. Yep. And most people don't notice when it softens. They only notice later when the book doesn't lead where they expected it to. So now let's dig into this even further. If someone finished your book and had to describe what you stand for in one sentence, what would they say? Write that into the chat.
Oh, wonderful.
Expansion of ideas and possibilities for Isabel. Joe, that's a hard one. It probably is a little bit hard, Joe, because yeah, you missed some of the
Mm.
context around the build up to these questions, but that's okay. Hey, Michelle, that I bring awareness to people of how their human experience is not random, but a pre-planned course that when they get curious and increase awareness, they can move more fluidly. Hmm, okay.
Yeah.
And so I want you guys to now notice how that felt when you answered that question, because clarity has a very specific signature. It's quick, it's clean, and it lands without effort. If yours took effort, I want you to type refining, because that tells you something really important. It tells you your thinking is still expanding instead of narrowing. Somewhere in between, says Isabel.
Yeah.
That's okay. Hey, it's better than not at all, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I just want this to really like make you guys think, and hopefully it, brings you heaps of awareness. Okay. Now I want you to check something. Just want to check something with you. If your ideal client read your book today, would they feel, and I want you to type a one or a two into the chat, type a one if they would be oriented toward working with you, or type a two that they would be educated but not directed. So type a one if they're going to be oriented toward working with you, or a two if they're educated but not directed in any way at all. Not sure, I haven't started writing it, but I would like to write it from the perspective that I achieve 100%. Yes, that's what we're aiming for. So I want you to just sit with your answer for a minute, because this is where most people see it clearly. That their book isn't ineffective, it's incomplete, but it's doing part of the job, but not all of it. Okay, so hang on, let me just check the chat. Not sure. Isabel's not sure, maybe two at the moment. Yeah. I'd say two and lead them to one for Joe. Yep. Love it. Okay, so let's shift something fundamental here. A book is not a container for everything you know. It should never be it for everything you know. It's an authority filter. So its job is to create a very specific experience for a very specific reader. to help them recognize themselves in your work, to help them feel understood, to help them feel safe moving forward with you, and equally to allow the wrong reader to recognize that this isn't for them. So let's define that edge. In the chat, I'd love you to now complete this. My book is not for, fill in the blank. I'll get my words out. My book is not for, fill in the blank. My book is not for people who are not prepared to take action. Love it. And then I want you to read your answer back to yourself and notice what just happened. Your thinking most likely got clearer and your message tightened and your positioning became clearer. That's not a restriction, that's actually showing leadership. And leadership is what creates movement towards you. And now let's extend this one step further because this is where most people stop. They define who it's for, but they don't fully define who it leads towards them. And that really does matter. So I want you to consider this. If your book works exactly as it should, who does it naturally lead into your word? Not word, world. Who does it naturally lead into your world? Not broadly, but specifically, because your book is not just attracting attention, it's actually selecting people. And the more precise that selection is, the more powerful the outcome becomes. Hang on, I'm just going to look at the chat. Joe's saying, my book is not for people who have trouble understanding and have compassion. Yep, lovely. Now, let's bring this all together. At the end of your book, the right reader should feel clear. Clear about what you do, clear about whether it's for them, clear about what to do next. We don't want them to not be interested or not impressed, but clear, because clarity removes any hesitation. Michelle, people who may have already recognized that their life needs to shift, but they're not sure what to do next, but they know there must be something more. Yes, 100%, Michelle. And hesitation is what stops people to take action. So let me ask you this right now. Where are you as far as all this is concerned? Type direction if the role of your book isn't fully decided yet, or type structure if the direction is clear but shaping it feels uncertain. Structure. Yeah. And I want you to just there think about your answer because that tells you exactly what needs to happen next. And most people misread this and misunderstand. They think they need help writing, but what they actually need is clarity. And once that clarity is in place, the writing becomes so much easier. It becomes more focused and it becomes more intentional. Now, what we do is anchor that shift. Remember, a book is not a knowledge container, as I mentioned before. It's an authority filter. So without that, it becomes something people only admire. When it becomes something that works for you, that's when it starts to really take shape and make sense. And so I want you to now, sorry, my throat's a bit scratchy. Apologies. So let's just take a moment and remember at the beginning of this session, your thinking looked one way, but now hopefully it looks differently after everything we've talked about at this point. And that shift didn't come from more information. It actually came from having clearer decisions. So I want you to just type clearer in the chat if you can actually feel that now. Has it made things clearer for you? Awesome. I love it. Great. Clearer, clearer. Because this is the moment where things begin to actually change. Okay, so not when you learn more, but when you decide more. Most people don't allow themselves to reach this point fully. They stay in the thinking, they stay in the possibility, and they delay the decision. And that changes how you move. So from here, you'll make a decision quietly, internally, and that decision determines everything that follows from there. So here's the only thing I want you to consider now, based on everything you've just heard. Are you willing to leave your book to figure itself out, or are you ready to decide it properly? Because those are two very different paths. One relies on hope, the other is built on design. So one creates something that you'll be proud of, the other creates something that works for you. And you already know which one you actually want. So if you are ready to decide on what that one topic is for your book, then I invite you to join Book to Bank Fast Track. This is where we do a deep dive and find your one topic as well as set your book up, which will help you write a very successful book. And yes, you can do this alone if you want to. However, I know from experience that when you do this with someone, it is so much more powerful. Because when you have something that holds you, someone that holds you accountable, as well as a brainstorming partner, you will become unstoppable. So, I thank you very much for being part of this masterclass, and I hope that you got a heap out of it, and hopefully it made sense to you. It sounds like you guys have had a shift, and I'm now going to open it for Q&A and would love to, yeah, help and answer any questions that you may have.
I just wanted to say the insight I had. I spent a lot of time watching, reading, not watching, also watching, reading non-fiction, uh, and then I've read fiction, but I get annoyed, I guess, with flowery fiction. You know, flowery writing
Yeah,
with
yeah.
lots of adjectives, and I know that they sometimes win the Booker Prize and all that sort of thing. I don't have a problem with that. Um, and I don't have a problem if it's something that's different. And so I just realized that that's actually just in doing what we did this morning. I just realized that that's something that when we talked about what we wanted readers to achieve from reading, I realized that um, I was putting too much knowledge in and not enough experiential. And then when I talk about wanting more feelings in my book, but I realized it's because my experience is reading facts and not reading imagination.
Mm.
And so I just have to, I purposely don't read a lot of the books, and maybe that's just me being stubborn and me not wanting to, but I don't read a lot of books because I want to write a different book. And I think, yeah, I've read some books that are along the genre that I'm thinking about, but I just then realised that my lack of experience in reading other writers that I want to write like they do, and it's yeah. I don't know if I'm being clear, but
Yeah, yeah, you are.
I had a thing. I had I think it was the part with knowledge. Uh, I can't see where I've written it now, but it's not your book is not a knowledge book. I think you said it's not a knowledge container. It's an authority filter.
Exactly. So
That
yeah,
really that
yeah.
when you said that, it really hit me that and then I had my brother had a look at the first few chapters, and he said, I feel like I'm being lectured to. And so that's when I realized I had to change. This is a long time ago,
Yeah, I
but that's
remember
when
you
I,
telling me,
you
yeah.
remember that? Yeah. And so I realized it. So I've been trying to change that around. But now when you said authority filter, I understand now. It sort of was a shift. It was
Mm.
good. Yeah. So that's
Well,
what I got out this morning. Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
Long-winded way of telling you. But anyway.
No, 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 it's fine.
Yeah.
I get it. And like when you and this is, I suppose, it's up to the individual, but reading other people's work, you know, can be helpful, but it can also not be helpful.
Yeah.
Because if you allow it to influence you, and I mean, I get a lot of people that read a book and go, oh, I can't, I couldn't possibly write that well. But it's not
Mm,
about that. It's you and
mm,
what you personally have to offer people.
mm.
We all have a gift and have something that we can offer people.
Yeah.
Write it in our own way. So,
Mm.
you know, um,
I don't, I just like, I like authors like Ernest Hemingway. I like authors like, I can't think of his name now, that is alive now, and he writes lots of thrillers and stuff like that. But his sentences are short and clear and crisp.
yeah,
And yeah, that's because I'm a bit direct myself, I guess. And so I like to communicate directly.
yeah.
That's why I don't like the other flowery stuff because it's just not me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think reading other people's books, like I remember reading this one book at one point, and this woman, I just did some proofreading for her for this book, and it was amazing. Like the way she wrote it, I had no idea. And then all of a sudden, she threw in this curveball, and I'm like, where did that come from? I did not see that coming. It just,
Yeah.
she like structured it so well that
Yeah.
it was brilliant. And
Yeah.
you to me, what take away from that is like, how did she do that? And could I do that for my book? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
how
it gets back to structure, doesn't it? Yeah.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So
So Sue, you talk about the was it book to bank?
Book to
Is that
bank
the
fast track. It's good.
so for someone like me who hasn't put pen to paper, but I've got the structure in my brain, I've got as far as structuring and what I want the book to talk to. Do you actually take it from this original position, then you work with content development, and then do you publish or do you connect us with a publisher? Or like is it the full top to tail?
Right. So book to bank is basically it's a one-to-one intensive and it's only 6 hours. That's just like step one. I then can help you with, and it's not 6 hours in one sitting either. You can just break it into, like I have a client today. He's doing an hour each week, so that in between he can do stuff. So, uh, and yeah, it's a perfect time. It is more perfect that you haven't started because this is where we actually decide what the one topic is that you're going to write about. We're going to set it up so that you know what each chapter is going to be about. We're going to work on the calls to action that you put throughout the book and making sure that you're writing it for your ideal client. Okay, so that's pretty much what book to bank is. And then, yes, I can then help you with other bits and pieces, like helping you pull it together even further and go deeper with you if you want to. And yes, I do offer all those other services as well for, proofreading, formatting, publishing, like, getting it printed, all that. I help with all that as well.
Okay.
Any other questions or feedback?
so the one-to-one intensive, you may have said how long is the time? How
So
many hours?
it's 6 hours in total,
Hours. Okay. Yeah.
and we can do that in any,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah. If you want to
combination.
just 1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's better doing it like that.
Mm.
And then maybe every once a week or every 2 weeks, so that way in between you can do other, work on the book
Yeah.
and come back and then we can discuss it. I also offer Voxer support in between. So that, if you've got any questions in between, go, I'm stuck here, Sue, help. Or, I've got a question. And then, so that, you don't have to wait till our next sessions, that way you can continue. Because I want it to flow easily. And so once that 6 hours is up and we've worked on that, it should be a clean, clear layout for you. That's going to help you write the book so much easier because you're going to have direction and know, right, this is what chapter 1 is. I'm going to write it. This is what chapter 2 is. Just you'll have a really good structure to work with. As opposed to, sitting down and going, now, what am I writing about? And, how do I do it? It's a great stepping off point. But yeah, I would like to have a chat with you, Isabel, to get yours,
Yeah, in order.
Well, look, you're on the right path, but there's just a few things I'd like to just sort of go, ask you and
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the book to bank is a very good thing to do before you do your book. I did sort of a little bit of it, but I didn't do the final chapters because I wasn't quite sure in my head. I couldn't.
So it could
No,
help.
no, no. All I'm saying is that if I had done the one-to-one intensive, we could
Yes,
have worked through that.
yeah. I
And then
mean, it
because
can,
it came to a halt, I didn't know halfway through the book. I thought, I don't know where I'm going.
yeah,
Yeah.
but when we spoke the other day, I truly believe that your book it's the perfect timing now.
Yeah. Than it was back then. Yeah.
Yeah, because back then
Yeah.
people would have gone, what?
Yeah.
This lady lost her marbles?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now with AI, it's like
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that sounds, but I do know, Isabel, it's not.
No, no, no. I understand. Yeah. I am a little crazy though.
No, you're beautiful, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we're all crazy in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But book to bank is for people that have already started too. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's not just for people that haven't started writing because
Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah.
some people start and then they get stuck.
Mm.
We can clear all that up and get you back on track.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
just let me know. And yes, I'd love to.
So could I ask Michelle what kind of book you're thinking of doing? Is that
Uh,
okay?
um, I want to write a book that explains how our human experience, because from where my belief system comes from, we design our human experience before we come. So the soul contract is developed and then we arrive on here for
Oh, yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
the lesson is going to bring to us. But so people understand the importance of the soul evolution process and why understanding how things like your natal chart and your human design can work for you and make it the experience easier.
Mm. Yeah.
I want to write it from a point of view that soul evolution is no different to Darwin's theory. So every human experience we've had has given the soul external
Mm.
factors that evolve the soul. And I want to use the axolotl as the human kind of metaphor that people work with. So pick something that's been here for eons and it has evolved through the external factors that it's lived through as the earth has evolved. your soul evolves through its human lives the same way. So when you get to this life that you're experiencing now and you're hitting roadblocks, challenges, whatever you want to call them, when you know why you're hitting it and what your energy is asking you to do, then you diffuse the issue and you work with it and you just move out of your own road.
Wow. I'd want to read your book.
It was one of those download moments while I'm sitting having coffee in the backyard.
Yeah.
That's the book.
Yeah.
Love it.
Great.
Love it.
Yeah, love it. Yeah. Thanks for that.
So I've structured it. I have it in my brain and I've structured it.
Yeah.
I'm just at the point where I want to start doing it. And I've also been given a unique opportunity in that I have been invited to be at the Frankfurt Book Fair next year.
Wow.
So if I pull my finger out and get it happening,
you can have a book.
and my book will sit at the Frankfurt Book. So I have a whole
wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Love
Very
it.
good.
And I'm on a tight timeline to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, very.
Well,
Yeah. Well, so what month next year is it, the festival?
October, beginning of October.
Oh, that's good. You got a bit more. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like I've got to get it written, I've got to get it edited,
year
I've got
and
to
a
get
half,
it better tested, I've got to
published. Yeah.
Then you've got to kind of do the testing thing to see if someone will pick it up.
Yeah.
And I don't have to. I could self-publish and go down that route, but I've done that before. So I'd rather try to work with someone that would say, I can publish it and I can push it. I can see that it's got.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Great. Wow.
So I've done all the brain work. I've just got to put finger to keyboard.
Yeah. Wow.
awesome.
Thanks for that.
Exciting.
All right. And Joe, have you thought of something? I mean, I'm asking questions. Sorry.
No, go for it.
Ask you questions.
Oh, it's okay. You go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Has anyone got anything else they'd like to add or ask? Well, can't hear you, Joe.
Yeah, your audio might be off.
No.
Just looking.
Yeah, the mouth's moving, but nothing coming out.
No. Never mind.
Type it in the chat, Joe, if you can't.
Type it in the chat, yeah.
Can't hear you.
Sounds so interesting, she said, did she?
No, that's
That was a while ago.
That was for Michelle's book. She said that it's
yeah.
But I may need to hop off in a sec because I've got another call coming soon.
Okay, yeah.
Was there anything else that?
No, that's it. So yeah, just you will get an email with the link if you'd like to, check out the Book to Bank Fast Track, or jump on and like book a chat with me if you want to know a bit more beforehand. I'm here.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming, Michelle. Much appreciated.
You're welcome. Thanks for taking us through it.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Take care.
All right.
I would like to write a book about my love story, including things that have happened through my life. Yes. I love it.
Oh, nice. Lovely. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Sue, for doing this. It's great.
No, thank you all for coming.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'll be in touch.
Yes, let's have a chat.
All right. Okay, then.
All right. Sending you all lots of love. Take care.
All right.
Thank you once again.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.